Cool, great. Okay, well, the topic and the title is very complicated. We hope to unravel this and simplify the complex in this discussion. Technology can't take care of things that humans do. We just saw an example of how one panelist got changed, but it needed human intervention to call out the change. So clearly, tech can't totally do everything without human intervention. So starting with this topic, I mean, you've heard a lot about AI. It's a big emerging trend. AI is not a replacement for creativity, but a tool to support it. Things like AI will lead to, hyper-personalization and build greater superior experiences for consumers. While we've heard a lot of it today, with our panelists, I hope to unravel some of these things with real-world examples, practical insights, and emerging trends to, give you a perspective on what is happening really in this area. So let me start with my first question, and let me address this to Manas. Manas, what are some of the key benefits that you've seen with AI in the creative process? Where is it helping the most? And, some real-world examples for audiences to sort of understand.
Great. So I'll try to disintegrate it into two parts. First, the creative aspect of it. I think the initial research, which people used to do to compile a lot of things as basic ideas, that's been done by AI now. So what we as human beings are doing, we are consolidating those ideas and we are reproducing something which is best for the brand eventually. But that initial research of 2-3 hours which used to happen and people used to compile everything, that's gone for now. And a lot of things are coming from the World Wide Web. Validated, unvalidated, I think that's for us to decide. But that part of it is gone. Also from a media standpoint, the recommendation engines and the recommendations on creatives of performance marketing, all of those things as well, that has become automated. So it has helped in a sense that it is doing the initial phase of the research for you, but eventually it is your call as to how do you want to level up the recommendations and the algorithms you want to put into it. Yeah.
Okay, and do you want to share any examples of, where you've seen some swift impact?
I think what has happened recently, we saw that OpenAI and other platforms are being used to write a lot of content for SEO, but that's the research bit of it. What Google did recently, it delisted a lot of articles which are being written through AI. So there is a level of intelligence which we as human beings and organizations need to put into it, while AI will give you the best of content for you, but you need to make sure that it is non-duplicated and it is original piece of content which goes out there. So that's still a very, very gray area. But we as organizations and brands, we need to make sure that that duplication is not there and the content which is being given as output to you is converted into something which is original, but the thought of it remains, the research part of it comes from AI. So there.
Swati, so Manas has spoken about a few benefits, AI as a tool for brainstorming, and I think the speed with which you can generate ideas and the width of ideas is one space that is, helping a lot. In your experience, you also work in an agency. How do you see these benefits sort of coming through?
So Priyanka, for us, I think past 2 sessions, my team has been speaking about how we've been using AI in each and every aspect of our business, really. I think how we are perceiving it as that at the end of the day, AI is artificial intelligence, right? You're just training the machine how to think like a human and just, copy the intelligence part of it. And for us, I think each and every business function, right from creativity, the first set of ideas generation, we are deriving scripts, the first set of scripts from AI. We are doing photo shoots. I think there have been some examples in our cases where the client stalled one entire photo shoot because the AI generated images were great enough. And now to also come to the media part of it, where the targeting is being extremely personalized, where the audience definition has been far more refined. The entire funnel strategy has been far more impactful, if I were to put it that way, in each and every aspect of our work. Also, internal project management, everything is getting automated using AI, right? So there is no limit, and I think it is yet to evolve far more. We've just started with it, and I think every day we learn something new. So, yeah.
That's great. Samyukta, you come from a, brand, marketing, beauty, experience. In your perspective, and in your experience, where do you see this sort of benefiting more from, from the marketing side? How are the use cases getting built out?
So yeah, I was just listening to very interesting points of views, from using it initially for research to you spoke about the fact that it's artificial, but we're using it for everything. I think it's very similar on the brand side as well. So for example, I think it took time for the brand teams to come to terms with it, because at some point it was like, oh, my agency is using, they're not writing things themselves. There was all of those accusations being thrown around, to then that becoming normalized, saying that, okay, why don't we all learn the software? Why don't we all familiarize ourselves with the unknown? Because it started with a lot of repercussions initially, saying, ChatGPT ne likha hai kya? Things like that was being thrown around very loosely. To then saying that, you spoke of SEO. We used it extensively at Kaya, for example, to write a lot of our, when we were launching, revamping the website, especially with the services part of it. Products was fairly simplistic to do, but there's a lot of content that needed to be generated overnight, literally, so that, because at the end of the day, it was the services business that was driving 90% of our bread and butter. Where do you then go for, how many writers can you, hire? How many people can your agency also kind of get? But like Manas rightly said, then we put in the filters of, getting our doctors to kind of vet the content and say, hey, these are the frameworks, then that's when the human intelligence of giving the right inputs kind of comes in. Saying that, for example, you're talking about laser hair technology. Who do you kind of speak to? What is the general clientele that comes in? What are they looking for? Why do they kind of do it? Is it the time? Is it the cost? Is it the, what is the benefit they're looking for? And then we kind of tailored content around our 20 years of understanding of the brand, kind of then went into this. So lots of these use cases that can be very intelligently used. I mean, this is just one small example, but a fantastic way of, it's just another tool. It's like Excel or Word or anything else. It's just about learning it and then using it to the fullest.
Great. Do you want to? No. Okay, cool. So you've spoken about advantages. I'm sure along with it, there are hurdles that are coming along, right? So Swati, do you want to sort of touch upon some of the key challenges that one should be careful of and that need to be managed?
So I'll talk about some of the challenges that currently exist with the usage of AI. I think the first one being that the entire set is extremely fragmented right now. Okay, there is something you use to prompt and generate text. There's something you use for generating images, then for videos, then there is entire Meta, there is entire Google, there is another tool which is coming up from Open AI for video generation, and then every single day there are newer tools coming in, and then you need to come and make sense of each one of them, fit them into your use cases, and then eventually figure out whether they're actually useful also or not, whether they're dependable also or not, because you don't know where they're sourcing the core data from. And therefore, I think the biggest challenge that remains in today's times with respect to AI is that it's very fragmented. People are still figuring out which portions to pick up, which portions not to focus on right now. And I think it is here to stay for some time till the level evolves into a way where it becomes one entire or a few consolidated platforms that we get access to.
So what I hear you saying is lots of tools, learning.
Too many tools, too many use cases.
Understanding that and then finding the right solutions.
Absolutely.
So a lot of effort, effort and resources there to invest behind learning this.
Yes.
Manas,
I'll just add on. you know, a lot of people, the content creation has become very democratized, and AI is picking up content from the World Wide Web. So, you know, somebody would say that intermittent fasting is really good for health, while somebody else, the doctors say that intermittent fasting causes heart attacks as well. So whatever is coming out of AI is coming from the World Wide Web, which might not be validated always. So that's where the downsides of AI are as well, because whatever comes to you, it's not coming from an authorized source, which is why I think the government is also putting certain regulations on content, which is not only made by humans, but also by AI. So, which is why there needs to be an ecosystem to make sure that the AI-generated content is in place, is validated, say, by doctors, and then it goes out there. So for instance, you know, I'll just give an example. What we have done is that over a period of last 11 years, we have written a lot of content for financial entities, be it insurance or banking institutions and everything. So we've created a hub of that content on our own, of the content which we have made. And now the content which is created is based on the writing styles and facts of the articles which we had written in the past, which is validated as well. And because of that, we are able to maintain the sanctity of the content which is being made, which otherwise, and Google delisted some articles and things which were happening on SEO and also otherwise. So from our standpoint, we need to make sure that we have kept the guardrails and the algorithms in place to make sure that those things are proper.
And you would be continuously feeding it with
Absolutely.
the right and accurate data so
Absolutely.
that the learning becomes
Yeah.
more and more accurate. Okay, coming to another aspect of it, which is the most talked about thing is AI and a replacement for humans. And you know, how do you see the collaboration, the human collaboration work with AI to get the best output? So some really quick thoughts from you, Samyukta.
So yeah, I think one cannot do without the other. Today we have reached a stage, it's not man versus machine anymore. It is a very man plus machine kind of a thing. Human being more important, but because a human, I think somebody very beautifully said it in the previous session, saying it is the human versus human who knows to use. So I think it's very critical for everyone to kind of educate themselves. You very rightly said that there are so many things coming up on a daily basis. The same thing is getting updated. You know, right from WhatsApp, everyone has now a version of, you know, AI kind of available literally. So there's no validation for what's right, what's wrong, and it's all getting picked up from that one large data pool. So I think, yeah, I mean, I think that's where we are headed, or we are already there. We can't escape it. But from a brand standpoint, I think a lot of fundamentals do not change. As the brand custodian, you still know your brand, you know the product you've created. You know, in case of a product, I mean, for me, a lot of examples will come from beauty. So your R&D, your research team becomes very critical in terms of giving the right inputs. Like you were talking about creating that data hub. You know, if it's an aesthetic dermatology business, then your dermats become critical. If it's a business like Sephora, then I saw Estee Lauder was in the previous panel. So each of those brands then giving their inputs to a large retail beauty brand would then become critical. And then how does the agency then translate all of this to make sense? Second is also, as brand custodians, you develop unique point of view. Each, you know, we've all learned brand marketing the traditional way in terms of the brand as a persona, all of that. We can't let go of that. Everything can't become, Manas, you spoke about democratization. You can't everyone can't sound the same. So how do you, that's where the human plays a very, very critical role in ensuring that the brand look and feel. So in my case, for example, in Sephora, we actually use this very well for social media marketing, where we did a complete revamp of our India page on Instagram. And what we actually did was we ensured that the key visual was created in-house by the partner, because you know your brand, you know the brand tenets, you know what's okay, what's not okay, right from, you know, how the black and white stripes should look, etc. Then we then fed it into machine learning, saying that, hey, if these are the, you know, whatever the framework defined, now go crazy, create 50, 100, which no designer can sit and create overnight. So that's really how, you know, we'll all have to kind of develop our own ecosystem and keep willing to learn and unlearn to kind of do this.
Absolutely. Very well said. I think, there's a lot of learning and brand worlds and work that has happened over the years, and AI can't, learn it or will know it. So how do you sort of feed that into it? Very simple analogy that I would like to talk about is, you may have the best ingredients in a kitchen, but you still need a master chef to get the best output. So hopefully AI and human collaboration works like that. Okay, I'm conscious of time, so I will move on to the next question. So as we get into the world of, human collaboration and AI, there is this whole area of how do teams get organized, right? Both from an agency perspective and on marketing teams. Where do you see that space? How do you see that evolving in terms of skill sets, the expertise that is needed, what roles may become less important, and, so Manas, from
Yep,
your...
I'll just take this up. So what we've done over a period of time is that, the entire AI and everything was being spoken about. We have started making core teams in each of the service teams. So the creative team would have an AI team as well, which would help in doing specialized things on AI. Similarly, on creative writing or be it on media buying and everything else. And then there's a core team there. And the rest people are doing the regular stuff BAU, but this team specifically is working on projects, which would be special projects for each of the clients and build that up. And I think there have been training exercises, there have been tools which people have come and presented, which we are using actively. And as one of the earlier panelists also said, a lot of investment is going into this space and the tools which we are using as well. And it is not that AI is completely, AI would completely take over the entire space, but I think a good amount of efficiency planning can be done using AI. And it would have an impact on resource costing as well. Like if for each of the teams, if we're working at 100% efficiency, they might be working at slightly more, 150 or so. And so there's good cost saving as well at the same time happening.
Swati?
So ours would be a little different, I'd say. I think we started by working on a model where we said that one person is responsible for figuring out everything AI, and that person passes it on and trains the rest of the teams and so forth. But we soon realized that that's not how it was happening, because across the teams, the Gen Zs and everyone, they were using AI far more effectively than this one person could be held responsible for. And therefore, we eventually realize that the way to integrate AI into the system is to ingrain each and every person with how AI works and how they can use it in their daily lives, and not only for their professional or their work at agency, but even back home, taking care of various tasks for themselves, right? So as of now, the systems that we have various AI experts, but I think most importantly, what we have is a lot of knowledge sharing sessions where one team trains the other teams that, this is how we've used, this is the new use case. We have like a lot of exchanges like that, and that enables the entire organization to function far more effectively.
Samyukta, anything that you would like to add?
So I think for us it was a double-edged sword. We actually did a workshop where we got in the agency partners, and we got in our agency partners from PR influencer marketing. We got in agency partners from media buying like performance and CRM. We also got in our in-house design team. We sat down together and we said, okay, everyone has to learn. There is no escaping this anymore. How do we then, and then we actually put frameworks in terms of saying what will be done by us organically, what kind of inputs will be given, because there were always these traditional brief formats that we're all grown up using and giving out. We actually junked all of it and we said, okay, this is how the briefing will happen. A lot of the initial part will be done by AI. We'll go through a system where it will get like kind of filtered out. And then how do we use it? So for example, if I were to pick up, say, performance marketing, because it's performance marketing, and the beauty of Google and Facebook is that you get a lot of insights in terms of, with the beta testing, what kind of ads work, don't work, which TG, what works, which cohort, what works, etc. We actually then after doing that initial run, again, what we did was we just relied on a lot of past data to equip us with this that seemed to be the future. We divided customers between new and existing, used it in CRM also in a similar format, did the same thing with performance as well, did the same thing on social media. So we literally assigned roles, and like Swati, you rightly said, you can't have one person being the expert. Everyone's using it today. And it's easy to use. It's pretty intuitive in that sense. Even a 10-year-old today knows how to, it's like Google. You can just search, look it up. Then it's about training. I remember my designer would spend hours on mid-journey trying to understand what's the right way to put in the prompts. And then he would actually start sharing stuff with us on WhatsApp groups saying that, today I discovered this new thing, stuff like that. So yeah, I think it's a constantly evolving process, but the more you can, this is just the client speaking, but yeah, the more you can just put some frameworks and SOPs in place, it just becomes that much simpler.
I have a counter opinion to some parts of it, like especially in media. The AI bit of it, which Facebook and Google have generated, is also to certainly suit them. The universal app campaigns and other campaigns, and we've seen that a lot of downloads and other things which happen might not give you the end result which a normal campaign which you would run otherwise will. So there needs to be a guardrail, which is a human guardrail, to make sure that even if you're getting a download, it is converting into events later on. So that space is still, not solved for a lot of people.
Actually, sorry, can I just interject? We also, very interesting point, thanks for bringing it up. We put these KPI because at the end of the day, marketing today is responsible for business. So the first thing my CFO and CEO asked me was, "Isse dhanda kitna aayega?" So then we had to put in an ROI metric saying whether it is CTR or whether it is, ad spends versus revenue generated, because there was no other way to measure it.
Fundamentals have to be the
that
same,
has
and
to
there
be,
has
at
to
the end
drive
of the day,
positive
it's
outcomes.
happening to
Yes.
drive business.
Okay, a last question to each one of you, and I need, quick responses. One future trend on what's coming up next, that, in this space of data-driven AI and creativity. And one tip that you would leave the audience with on the topic of AI and creativity.
On future trend, I definitely say that a lot of asset creation will become far more intuitive and AI generated. We'd have far more videos, far more personalization coming up. And one tip I'd leave the room with is that AI can take care of a lot of laborious part of your work, right? You can generate thousands of images, thousands of texts, and you can do so much part, but the core imagination will remain human, and that is what we all need to work upon, is our own creativity. So that's my thought.
Samyukta?
I think, yeah, for me, it's very simple. Just keep studying, learning, unlearning, because we are living in times where we can't stick to, oh, I did this 20 years ago, I did this 10 years ago. Everything's changing every minute as we speak. So I think, yeah, the more updated we are, the more, and just genuinely have that love and passion for this subject. I think that we're all sorted. It's fine.
I'll just add on to it. Like, one suggestion is that, you might be using a lot of AI tools, but it's good to understand and make one of your own as well. Like, there are a lot of things available through which one can work on a module or an algorithm through which you can build it, and it can be utilized outside as well. And second, I think it will help a lot in predictive analytics in the longer run. So that's a trend which I think will remain. It will be much more informed in our case, and especially going forward with a lot of compliances and everything coming into place, this will only become stronger. AI will only become stronger over a period of time.
Cool. So thank you, everyone. And I would like to summarize it in 3 things. AI is here to, for us, we should embrace it, not only embrace it, but use it to supercharge our work, right from brainstorming to automation to efficiencies, lots of benefits that came out of it. It will only be potent with, AI can only be potent with human expertise. So we know a combination and a collaboration of these two is extremely essential for us to sort of get started. And continuous learning, you'll never know enough, and equally important for everyone in your teams to have a broader understanding of AI and what's coming up. So those will be the summaries, and thank you for the engaging discussion, and we'll open it up to the audience.
We can open up. We have space for one question if anybody wants to ask. I just have been told that we do not have space for questions. I'm really sorry, but then give it up for them, please, ladies and gentlemen. And I think the biggest takeaway is that AI, when it blends with RI, which is real intelligence over here, that's exactly the way forward, right? Give it up once again for all of them, please, as I request them to kindly pose over here for our photographers for a group photograph.